Welcome to another stream tutorial. Today we're actually going to break down and run through the tutorial of our first battle in Great Pendragon Campaign, Book of Battle 2, Meacred Creek. So this battle is actually a future battle that will play out in our stream, but we're not going to worry about that.
It is? Oh, shit, I didn't know that.
It might look a little different. So, Meacred Creek is the first battle in the Great Pendragon Campaign, which happens as soon as the players are comfortable. So that's kind of how it's designed. Year 485, things go down, and we're not going to worry about the details. We're fighting Saxons. That's what we need to know. So what we need to gather for this game is this book. That's done. One battle zone map. We got that on our Roll20.
Yeah.
One leader battle record. You're going to have to fill one of those out, actually, too. So,
I am comfortable to do that. You want to give me access?
Yeah, let me just... I'm just going to take the tutorial and then populate it. I keep pressing the wrong button.
Yep, I can make the tweaks to it if necessary.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'm going to duplicate it. So, and then I'm going to hide this. Okay. And you can just... modify leader battle record. I'm going to rename it for you. Tutorial. Alright. And we'll make this a different color to make this one blue. Alright. So back to here. Game Master battle record we got, leader battle record we got the player battle record too.
Mm-hmm.
2 maneuver summary tables. We have the summary tables on Roll20. Maneuver choices. We got that on tables and split into cards. For each player, we need player's 1-page battle reference. You have that. And player battle record.
I do.
Alright, so we're good to start. First charge, round 1. So most battles will start with the first charge. Literally our first battle on stream using this book won't have a first charge, but that's okay.
We've done a first charge before, it just wasn't using these rules.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So, first things that we gotta do on the steps is we gotta determine the player knight status. Now, Sir Elad does not count as a player knight for the sake of this, so it is pretty much just me. Normally it assumes that there are at least 3 player knights, but I don't think that's necessary for this. Oh, I'm apparently very loud on stream.
Yeah,
that might...
there's not much we can honestly do there.
Yeah, I'm not doing... There's not much I can mess with on that on this, unfortunately, except for maybe...
Am I coming in clear enough? If I'm coming in clear enough, I don't care.
It says that you are a little quiet.
Yeah, a little quiet's fine. A little quiet means you can still hear what I'm saying.
Yeah. There we go. I'm gonna try that. Hopefully that'll make it a little bit better. There's just not a whole lot I can do with that right now. So we'll just be counting Sir John here as the player character here. So first things first, we need to determine player knight status. Go over the page 1 stuff, which I shall do.
Alrighty. We'll try this.
First things first. Am I alone? No. I'm attached to a unit. Sir John has attached to a unit. Sir Elad is leading. I am mounted. I am armed with a lance. And I am not guiding, encumbered, or burdened. And I am not subject to melancholy, hate, or fear. I have no bodyguards, and I have 1 squire.
Okay.
I'm going to name him Sammy.
And that's all out on here. Oh, you're filling it out right now. Got
Yeah.
Sammy.
Alright, cool. So, that step is done. Easy as pie. Now we move on Tell the player knights. Tell the player their knight's unit is placed among the others on the left flank. That's more for flavor. Game Master's battle record should be filled out as shown on the top of the next page.
Which
and I believe
I did that part.
you're already on it.
Yeah.
Cool. Calculate intensity.
Okay, so let me just, I'll just show the battle record. So this is all filled out up here, as we can see. Okay, now to unit intensity. Let me get some logos out on the battle zone here. You know what we didn't do? We didn't come up with. Find me a funny picture for John, or do you want me to find a funny picture for John?
I can find a funny picture for John. Hang on.
And while you're doing that, I will pull out who do we Uther and Elad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good thing is I actually have logos for both. These aren't required steps, but I figure since they're here,
might as well, right?
Yeah. Actually, I have them in the.
By the way,
I'm on the wrong page. We're gonna bring us over to the tutorial. There you go.
it's not going to be the highest quality photo, but I think it'll serve our purposes pretty well. Sending it to you in the Knights of the Salisbury chat.
Okay. And I will grab Elad. And Uther.
I'm going to see if I can find a better one in the meantime. Higher quality one. Oh, actually, I think I got a better one. Potentially? No. Not yet.
Not yet?
Not yet. I'm working on it, though.
I'm John. All right, while you're doing that, I'm just going to show some of what we have here on the map. So we have our unit commander, Elad. We've got our actual leader. What do they call them? Enemy or player army commander. That's Uther. Then we have all of our tables. So unit cohesion, maneuver summary. If this looks overwhelming, it kind of is to start. But that's why we're doing these videos, to see if we can help out with that. Because we too found it confusing. The book's laid out weird, but at the end of the day, what you're doing in the battle is you're kind of going from the macro view, and then you're going down to the micro view and seeing what's actually happening in the unit, and then right down to the player's action, and then you're going kind of back up to the army view again, the macro view. And that is how it works. A lot of big battle systems that I've played in the past work almost identical to that. This one has a lot of chunk. You can get into the mechanics if you want, and that's what this one does well. I can understand why some would not want it. But if anything, I think the biggest hindrance of this book is its layout. So hopefully with this tutorial we can show in the playthrough how to use this book if you want it.
I got a photo for you.
Okay, let's see it. Oh, perfect.
Still not the highest quality, but I think it'll work fine.
It'll work just fine. So I have to ask, is this Little John?
It is. Yeah. Yeah, you got it, buddy. You got it.
I remember that scene fondly from when I was a kid. So Sir John. And we're going to throw him on the roll 20 and then stop wasting our time with these. Roll 20 tokens. Sir John. There's our boy, Sir John.
Here's our boy. Here's our son. Our lad.
It's right after he loses the battle at the river, right? Or the creek?
Yeah. He's back for vengeance.
All right, let's dive her in here. Okay, so back to the PDF then. Oh God, I lost the page. 108.
I gotcha. So we're calculating army and unit intensity. Point out the 3 different key numbers: the army, unit, and final army intensity. Don't totally know how useful that is personally. The unit and army intensity is definitely important. These last will be filled in the result of the first charge. So the opening intensity is always 20. For this battle, it recommends a -5 starting condition because Uther's army is quote-unquote better armed. Specifically, this means that a good part of Uther's army is mounted and well armored. So
perfect. Let me make sure I populated that stuff in the GM part. I did not, so it's slightly different. The first charge is slightly different, so it's -5, 2, and 17. Right?
Yes, correct. The battle events. So typically what you would do is you would roll 3d6 -10, and the result of that would be what the battle events mean. And it's basically as the battle first starts and kicks up, what goes on that affects the battlefield. So I just rolled it with myself here. I got some dice here. I rolled a 5, a 2, and a 3. So adding that up, that would be 10. -10 would be 0 typically, but it assumes in this book, it go ahead and assumes that you get a 2 as your sum total, and I think that'll be fine for this.
Okay, apparently this says starting conditions.
Yes. Starting conditions are like things that would affect the battle one way or the other, like right as it starts.
Yeah.
So like if the Saxons massively outnumbered us, or if one side had a slightly advantageous position or was more riled up or whatever, had the side of God on them.
2 in charge. Okay, so I have that filled out on the GM battle record. So 20 -5, 2, 17, then battle zone of 5, unit cohesion of -20, and first charge intensity of 2.
Correct. First charge intensity would be 2, because that's what the why does it say first charge intensity is 2 on this one? Unit cohesion is going to be -20 because we're disengaged on the first charge. We get a +5 for the battle zone. Oh, right. First charge is 2 because it's 20 plus. It's 17 plus 5 minus 20.
Right.
So you add
intensity plus battle zone -20
minus the disengaged cohesion. Cool. And that would put the unit intensity at 2, which means we're only rolling against a 2 typically for this charge, which is pretty good.
Is the first charge intensity, is it a sum of all of the numbers before it?
Pretty much, I think.
Give me a second. I'm just going to see if...
I believe it is. Because the battle event add to it. Yeah, it would be. It would be 20 minus 5, which would be 15, plus 2.
I count 19.
7. Count 19.
Alright, I summed Open army intensity, starting conditions, battle event, army intensity, battle zone, unit cohesion as like records, and it gives me 19.
Oh, that's why. The army intensity is the sum of 20 minus 5 plus 2.
Okay.
But then the first charge intensity is the sum of the army intensity and the battle zone minus the unit cohesion. So there's 2 different equations in there. Adding them all together would fuck it up a little bit.
Okay. Hold on. I'm just gonna play around with that because that's kind of neat. Okay, so 17 for army intensity, and then unit cohesion. So these are just sums. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It is a little nice, a little helpful.
So
yeah,
I'm still not understanding how we land with 2 for first charge intensity though.
Right. So the opening army intensity minus or plus or minus the starting conditions plus or minus the battle events equals the army intensity. But the first charge intensity is the army intensity plus or minus the battle zone plus or minus unit cohesion. And that's how you... Right. So there's like a line in between the army intensity and the battle zone where like you don't add 17 twice.
Yeah, got it. It auto calcs, so that's cool.
Yeah.
I might even throw that in, and it could save us some time. So when we're doing the actual... Okay, so that part's set.
Yep. Maneuver we have to do is going to be charged no matter what, because that's what we're doing. Now Elad here, he is going to roll Army Commander is going to make a roll, actually. So Uther's making this roll. This is the only time in the battle the Army Commander is going to make a roll as an Army Commander. He might still be making a Unit Commander roll if he's involved in the fighting heavily, but that's only if he's really fighting with the PCs.
Only once or once per round? Is it like once per whole battle?
This is the only time that Uther should be needing to make a specific roll as the Army Commander.
Okay, that's what I was missing on the page here. Step 3. Okay.
He's typically going to be opposed by the first charge intensity or the Army Commander's battle skill, whichever is greater. In this example, Ael's battle skill is given in the Book of Pendragon campaign as 17, which is greater than the starting unit intensity, which is the first charge intensity as well. So, that means that we're going to be using Ael's instead of the first charge intensity.
Right, so we have to roll for Uther and for Aele, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Both of them do that. Do you want me to roll for Uther?
Sure. He's rolling against the 17. Is that right?
Okay. So no, because the Ael has to roll as well. So they're both rolling a d20. It's just that Ael is trying to get a 17. He's doing it with a skill of 17, and Uther is going to be rolling with a skill of whatever Uther's is.
Right. So enemy Army Commander Aele is a 19, and Uther's is a 17. That was good. That's what I have.
Other way around, I think.
Not according to what we had to fill out on the page above. Aele, if you go back to the GM battle record, it says Aele is a 19 and Uther is a 17.
It does say that. Why would it say that? Okay. This is what I was having issues with when I was reading it the other day, because it was just like little stuff like that that's like, is that a typo? Because it definitely says here, it says Ael's battle skill is given in the Book of Pendragon campaign as 17, which is just not correct.
You know what I do have? I have the book. Mm-hmm. I have that book, so give me a sec. I have the Great Pendragon campaign.
Yeah, it probably doesn't matter too much for this fight, but like still, it's just like that little like
Well,
Is that right?
it will, because like anyone that's watching this to learn, they're gonna have the
Right.
same questions we are.
Exactly.
485.
There's another one of those later on that I will point out too that I was having some trouble with. I think I figured it out, but it looks like it might be a typo.
So give me a sec. I'm gonna get to year 485, and it's gonna tell me what his battle skill is at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Uther's battle is 19. Alay's is 17. So it's a typo. So we're gonna do 17. We're gonna reverse them in there. Okay, done. That fixed
Okay.
it.
So Aele is 17, Uther is 19.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So
Now
I will
roll.
make the roll for Uther. Yeah, and you can make the roll for Aele.
Okay.
Uther got a 7.
7. Okay. And I'll roll on roll 20 for this. 20 verse 17.
what
Ailey
what did he
just
do?
critical.
He criticaled. Okay,
Yeah.
so so typically what that would mean
Hopefully that doesn't happen when we go to the stream fight too.
exactly. So the first charge bonus is usually applied if your army commander wins the roll or is successful on the roll. It's a +5 to lance. Infantry facing cavalry use their bonuses instead to deny enemy cavalry from getting its normal charge bonus.
Where are you in this part?
This is on page 22.
Okay,
it's
this
just
is the first,
the
see first charge bonus, page 22.
Yeah.
And who gets that? Ailey does now, or you guys do
So-
because Ailey won?
Typically, because Uther succeeded, he would get the first charge bonus to this, which would be a +5 to our lance and a +5 against infantry while mounted. However, he did not succeed on that roll over the other guy.
No, it's a
So the
partial
army
success.
commander, the army commander got a critical. Requires a unit commander to make a battle roll and choose maneuver. First charge maneuver is predetermined. The army commander picks charge and make battle roll. Army commander skill is opposed by the greater of the first charge intensity or the army commander's battle roll. If the army commander gets a win or a critical success, your army gets the first charge bonus. If it's a partial success, which this would be what it is,
Yeah.
the enemy army gets the first charge bonus. So, yeah, that's what it is. It's actually they're getting the first charge bonus. It's,
How does that work in? Do I actually track the enemy's army?
Not really. Their numbers are just represented by opposed to ours for most of this. So, for example, in this situation, all it would mean is that we're still technically like doing the action of the attack, but they are getting the bonus. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Where do I record that though?
Oh, battle roll result. In the battle roll result, you would record partial success.
I don't see
Now-
the battle roll result on the GM sheet.
Oh, it's right between first charge intensity and maneuver. It's right above the first actions.
Not on the GM sheet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's on the leader sheet. So maybe it's just something I record. Oh, you're right. You have, that's right. You just straight up do not have it.
Yeah. So
That's funny. All right.
So maybe it's because is a +5 good or bad? I'm trying to figure that out. It's bad. So
It would be good. There's a lot of, like, most of the numbers in this are, the lower the number, the better for us. But in this specific instance, oh no, you might be right. Actually, it might be a -5 in this one because they would get the first charge bonus, which would probably mean that we would just end up having a minus to it.
yeah, because I'm not actually rolling, right? You guys are.
Correct. Let me double check something here. Battalion commander do. Yeah, it doesn't say. It just says that the enemy gets the first charge, which I imagine means
A penalty. Let's try with that for now, because what I'm assuming is I don't think I roll, but other than the army roll. I think almost all of it is you rolling with modifiers from here. Is it not?
For the most part, yes. Except for pretty much. Fight size battles are pretty common. I just want to double check something real fast, because this is important to know if this comes out up in the tutorial itself assumes that Uther succeeds on this, but I think it is important to know what happens if the other enemy does, because it says here. Partial success, enemy gets the first charge bonus. So I think that I think you're right. I think that just means that they get a minus, because we're not rolling around a combat, I don't think. Oh, we are. That's right, because we're doing the charge maneuver. Okay, yeah, I understand what's happening here. I understand how to play this game now. So the charge maneuver would give us a +5 bonus, and then another +5 if we were attacking infantry. As these are Saxons, they are all infantry. So you're going to roll one random foe. And are we doing a round of melee against them? I imagine so. Let's me look back at this thing. Yeah, because the first things, there's going to be one round of melee combat, so they're just going to get a +5 to their melee. Which is fun.
Alright, so I'm still stuck on where the penalty goes, but I mean, as long as we know it's a -5, or like a +5 to them, or a -5 to you,
yeah,
figure out.
It'll be a +5 to them, because they're going to get a chance. I believe the way melee combat works in general, in regular, is everybody gets one attack, right? Like, if Dallin was fighting a Saxon, Dallin would make a swing at the Saxon, and then the Saxon would make a swing at Dallin, yes?
But what is the first charge bonus? How does that work?
First charge bonus is quite literally just a +5 for charging at them. Then you get a +5.
+5 against what, though? What's it a bonus
to? It's to your melee combat.
Okay. Okay, well that's okay. So that one makes sense to me.
Right, because if we move on to the next step, which is melee combat, it'll go player knights determine their melee skill, lance or spear expertise. Remembering the lance charge modifier, which is +5 mounted versus infantry. Since this is the first charge, you roll on the Saxon chart to be able to get some of their best soldiers.
When do I roll? So we're down into melee combat now, right?
We are moving on right into melee combat, yes. The enemy's going to get the first charge bonus, which just means that they get a +5 to their attacks.
Okay, so, and I want to see if the notes, we made a bunch of quick notes for how this is supposed to play out. Melee combat, fight one melee round. How do I choose my units?
So, that's what we figure out next. So typically you would just roll a straight d20, and then it would correspond somewhere on the chart. For the first charge specifically, you're going to roll 1d6 and then add 14 to it, because we're likely charging into their strongest enemies.
1d6 and add what to it?
14.
Is that on page 22? Is that where you grabbed that from? Or?
No, that's on 103. That's back at the tutorial fight.
Okay, one sec. I'm just going to go back into the rules there. I want to make sure I show on the page where possible.
Yeah, I get you.
Takes a few seconds to load here. Plus, I want to make sure I don't miss the stuff as we go. So this is... What did you say, 102? Is where you...
Correct. 103.
103. Under melee or army commander role?
Under melee combat.
roll 1d6 plus 14 on the Saxon army.
Correct. And once again, like normally it would just be a regular d20 when you're determining enemies, but because we're charging their front lines probably have their best soldiers, so that's what that's representing.
Why the 14 though? How did they factor a 14?
I think the higher the number is on the chart, the more elite the soldiers are. So
does that have something to do with the killing zone?
No, it's on the enemy unit chart. Let's see, Uther's armies.
Yeah. The more so in general, the higher you roll, the more dangerous the enemy. But why a 14? Like, how would one come up with a 14? Is what I'm trying to.
I think it's just guaranteeing that whoever you're charging into is going to be a 14 or higher, or a 15 or higher, right? Like. Yeah. What you're charging into on that first round is definitely going to be one of, like, within the top 5 of the difficult opponents, because they're on the front lines. So the D6 is still allowing for a little bit of variety of, well, you're not fighting Rotan's men, right? But you could be, you know?
Yeah.
It's not a
I'm just curious if they have a method for that, you know? It would be really nice to know. Do they have a method for how to determine whether it's a D8 plus 6 or you know what I mean?
Like, I think it might have been like just a 25%. Like you're charging into the top 25% of their soldiers.
Because I know when you fight into the enemy's battle zone more, you get negatives for that. Like like if you're fighting into the enemy rank, you can get like a 6 or an 8 and 9, but none of that ultimately factors into the number. So I was just curious are they adding stuff like normally when you're fighting in the enemy behind enemy lines, it's an 8 penalty, right?
To what?
Well, if you look on the map, right, the battle zone map,
yeah,
they all have different numbers there.
Oh, yeah, on the left-hand side.
Oh, right. The right-hand side's where the bonuses are.
Correct. I think the left-hand sides are just numbers so that you don't have to write out the whole killing zone or enemy rank, second rank. You can write just the number 6 instead.
Yeah. Okay. So you're in. All right. We'll just assume that that's like a player. Like a GM can decide that. I'm making notes and trying to figure out how I'm going to map this for tomorrow. That's all. I don't want to be caught off guard with things like that. So,
no, that's why we're doing this. I totally understand.
I'll ask around if there's like a component for that somewhere that helps you determine what you're first charging into. If it's always a 1d6 plus 14 for a charge, or if that's like.
It typically would be if it was a normal. Like battle lines were set up, right? Because the idea is that the enemies have put their best soldiers on the front line. So if you're charging into their front line, you're going to be coming up against somebody pretty strong. But normally, if you're doing a regular fight, and it asks you to roll for what kind of enemies, it's just a d20 because it could be anywhere now. You know, the lines have kind of gotten a little bit more fluid. So for your example specifically, we've been ambushed and we've got no first charge, I would say it would probably just be a straight d20 because there's not really a front line for us to crash into, since especially since we're not charging.
For sure. And I did find on page 22 it does reference the 1d6 plus 14 again, and it says so that's like, it sounds like it's standard. That's how you would apply every first charge. Okay.
Correct. Okay. Yeah. So
we have to find Sir John's enemy.
Yeah. So go ahead and roll that d6, and we'll see where he lines up on the good old
Sir John DeLille.
John DeLille. Yeah.
I gonna let you roll 1d6 plus 14.
All right, d6. I got a 2, so that's going to be a 16. Javelineers. They're a missile unit, so that's fun. If attacked, they run using dexterity fast.
Now, and on the first charge, they get a -5, I think.
I think so too. They're missile. I think missile units specifically suffer on that. Let's see where
I'll
say that.
It was on page 22.
Yeah.
I happened to just run across that.
That's right. I was looking at that too.
22. Okay. It says enemy cavalry from getting
Archer units
in the losing army take a -5 penalty to their skill. They're rattled. Okay, and you get a +5 mounted bonus, right? But you.
Yes. It does say on the losing army specifically, and I think that's in reference to the battle roll, and they didn't lose that. So I think they're able to adapt to that, and they don't get that -5 penalty. So that's interesting.
Why is that?
Well, it says specifically on there. It says
losing army and winning army. Oh, gotcha.
Right, and I think that's in reference to the battle roll that the army battle roll that Uther made.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I don't think they get that -5 penalty on their thing.
That's bad.
And they did win, so they're gonna get a +5 bonus too, actually, because the pack targets.
And then they also get the other +5 bonus, so they're in a good shape.
Correct.
Now,
yeah,
I'm trying to remember from regular Pendragon rules, because I think archers don't do the like attacking with archery is different. Like I think they I think you make your attack roll and then they make their attack roll, or vice versa. Like it's not like in Pendragon normally it's just opposed rolls for 2 melee. I think with archery it's a little different.
Yes, I know they've got specific missile unit rolls in this one. If they're engaged if they're being attacked by an enemy,
which they will be,
which they are going to be. Yeah, many missile armed troops are entirely unmanly, and they will shoot at targets of opportunity, but then turn and sprint away from an attack. See sprint. If they shoot their non-engaged units, if they're attacked, they will always sprint away. And there's a specific thing that they do called sprint. It's a maneuver. Trying to double check what it is here.
This won't apply here, by the way, too, because in this case they're not. They are going to be attacked by you. This would be more like if a secondary or tertiary unit happen to not be attacked by you, they have a chance of attacking you, if I remember correctly.
That's if they were not directly attacking, I think they still try to sprint away though, even if they are the main attacked one.
Gotcha.
Because I think that's just what they do as like ranged units. They're like, I'm out of here, goodbye. Any attacking non-missile opponent +5 to attack. Okay, so they're gonna. So, interestingly enough, as we get, actually, I wonder. Sorry, I need to double check something now here too, because.
I'm glad we're doing this because I felt more prepared than I actually am. So
I felt that way too. No, it's like little things, right? Like I followed through with all of that. Followed through with a lot of that tutorial stuff, and I was feeling pretty confident. But then I realized, like, I'm glad we rolled some of the actual stuff, and it didn't go exactly. We didn't just take exactly what the book had, because we came up with something. And we're like, oh, how does this work? Oh, interesting. Sprint is a non-knightly maneuver performed only by peasants and the most cowardly of troops. This is different than the runaway, that the unit voluntarily sprints. A deliberate tactic to avoid melee. Sprinters turn their backs and run as fast as they can. Note that this gives their attackers the normal +5 bonus to melee weapon skill. So they're actually not going to get their bonuses because they're going to book it immediately, which is very interesting.
what was that piece?
If not threatened, they offer. Sorry, I'll reread it in just a second. It's threatened, call skirmishers, and the knights have another word for them, panicked. The unit commander chooses to attack. Target turns out to be a sprinting unit that is sprinting. This maneuver automatically becomes the rundown sprinting maneuver. Okay, so if you attack a unit that has the sprint, the sprint thing as a thing like the javeliners would,
yeah.
The missile units, then our maneuver immediately automatically becomes the rundown sprinter maneuver instead of the charge, which is a different maneuver entirely. Rundown sprinters, where is it? Rundown sprinters. We get a +5 bonus. If we get a win, we move forward 1 zone. If we get a triumph where everybody wins, move forward 2 zones. The enemy is disordered and check reckless, which is fun. Okay, so
I got sprint up as a card right here.
Oh yeah, perfect. So the sprint would be more if we were taking the sprint action, but for us, as we're attacking an enemy that is sprinting, we automatically have to take the rundown sprinters. So we're going to get a +5 to our attack bonus, plus a +5 for mounted versus infantry, so we're going to get a +10. So that's actually worked out really well in our favor, because they were going to get a bunch of bonuses against us, but then we attacked the ranged units, and they got to flee, so it ended up working out in our favor.
And they have to flee, probably because you're charging at them, right? Like, so this is,
yeah.
Whenever it's probably a good thing to roll against archers in the first charge, is what I'm thinking. Like,
yes,
because which makes logical sense.
Yes, the note on the Javelineers here says specifically, if attacked, they run using Dex, and they have the sprint tag. So if they are attacked directly, they are not fucking with that shit. They are out of there, which is kind of fun. Yeah, I'd say if you were gonna crash into a front line, you'd want to crash into people who are running in the other direction. Okay, cool. So I will roll. We'll roll. So I think we do melee now. We roll the melee combat. So we're fighting those boys.
Rundown sprinters.
They don't have spears, so they don't cancel our charge bonus, but we don't get the charge bonus anyway, so it's fine. So we're just getting just making a standard melee round now, but they aren't attacking. So
I didn't fill out much in the round so far as enemy. Enemy unit was what was
Javelineers.
And then now we do the results of the fights. Okay.
Yep, we do regular melee combat. So the way that melee combat proceeds is They
do get a +5 against you because they're retreating, or against them.
We get a +5 because they're retreating. Yeah. So I think we're getting a +10 total. 1 for being mounted versus infantry, and 1 for 5 for being mounted versus infantry, and 5 for them running
down. Yeah.
Right. So that would put Sir John's stats up to. This is going to be Lance. So they're rolling a 25 right now. They got a 13 out of 25, which is a success. The other knights would roll if there were other knights.
Switch the arms. Where are you? I should probably pull up the book so I can.
Oh yeah, I'm on page 103. Just underneath the player battle record.
Hold on, I'll pull it up. What step?
This is in step 4. It's just underneath the player battle record. It says fight.
Yeah, got it.
So we're running around a normal combat melee. They're running. We're striking. Play the combat straight out in the open with all the dice visible. And we're going to be doing it on Roll20. So explain that each round of combat represents about an hour of fighting, and that there's still an option to enter standard King Pendragon's melee rounds, but that should be avoided even if you know what you're doing. There is an example of that in the second fight that's really cool. It's mostly reserved for things like, oh, you get an opportunity to fight the enemy commander, or, a certain, Humble Creek Lord shows up on the fight and challenges you to a duel in the middle of the battle or whatever. You can go into like regular combat.
Yeah.
Typically, it's going to be one round for anything. Players will see how much damage they did. Damage specifically done does not matter too much.
Did it say they're not allowed to attack you as well during this phase? Correct.
For this specific thing, because they're sprinting, they cannot attack us. They're committing all of their resources into running away. My damage roll would be 5d6. I'm just going to roll that in roll 20 because that's going to be easier for me, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I rolled a 15. Does not really matter. I mean, you can decide whether or not that's a mortal wound or whatever, a major wound or whatever, for the sake of how many heads are lobbed off. But
I don't actually see your roll. Did you roll somewhere else?
No, I don't think so. It says my connection to the server has been interrupted. That might be. Yeah, that might be.
That's a crap roll, anyways.
Yeah. Dallin's sheet does that quite a bit.
Yeah. There we go. I just want people to see it.
20. Yeah. So.
Weird that I can't see your output. There we go. It's taking its sweet time. So 20.
I'm using my iPad instead of my actual computer this time, so that might have something to do with it. Yeah, so the damage doesn't matter so much. It's more like for personal satisfaction, and also if I were to have used an odd number, if I were to have landed on an odd number with the damage roll, it would have broken my lance, and my squire would have to hand me a new lance. So I did not get an odd number, so we're fine. And normally Elad would roll his stuff as well, along with his bodyguards and stuff, but that's not super important for now. So
that's 20 did something now where if I'm in dark mode, it won't show the output of like our templated rolls out of the sheet.
Really?
Yeah, it just shows a blank damage and blank white. If I go to like regular view, which I find too bright and ugly, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's weird. It looks fine on mine, but I don't know what that's about.
You know what? I'm gonna do as much as I'm gonna have to reload that book again. I'm gonna try to refresh because I think it's gonna be annoying. Nope, it's just stuck that way. Apparently, that's fine.
What a fun time.
Okay, so where do we record that now? So you did 20 damage. They're not very strong, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. So the unit results would be a win because, actually, the unit result would either be a win or a triumph. Because after you do when all the melees are done, you count up the wins and losses and refer players to the unit victory results. Unit victory results. That's interesting. Hang on. Unit victory results. Is that the answer to a question I had the other day? Did I misspell victory? What happened here?
So, no intensity change. Everyone expects the sprinters to lose. Move forward 2 zones, but your unit is disordered after the rapid rush forward.
Yes. Unit results. Let me try that.
What are you referencing right now, too?
I will show you in a moment. I'm looking for something specific because I had a question, and I think I determine unit results. Unit results. 69. I need to go to page 69. Hey. Take me down to page 69. Here we go. Unit results. Okay, yeah, that's unhelpful to me. Okay, so it says to direct players to the unit victory results or unit results. That just means that's what you decide. That's what the effects are based on whether or not everybody succeeds, at least half of the people tie or win, or if more than half the people fail, or if everybody fails. In this specific example, I cannot get a triumph because I am a solo knight. If I had, there has to be at least 3 player knights in a group in order to triumph. And what a triumph would do is it would hurt the enemy so bad that their unit would be at half strength. So if I ever fought that unit again, like if you rolled the same number twice, they would be rolling at half of their dice. And it also would increase or decrease the intensity, the army intensity, by 2 for a triumph. It's basically us just kicking their asses so hard. But for this specific example,
man, I definitely don't want to, like, when we're playing live, I don't want to slow down for that stuff at all. Like,
yeah,
I don't want it to turn into like sim, calculator.
Yeah, having to
like
roll everything. Honestly, I don't think it will be in the moment because we'll be able to know. Like, a lot of this is theoretical because it's just by myself. But Thomas, Mark, and I will all roll a check. If all of us succeed and nobody fails on their check, then that's a triumph. And all you have to do is just write down the number that you used. And if we fight those guys again, they're just using half.
What happens if you're the only player character, like this case? Is that a triumph as well?
No. If you have to have at least 3 knights, 3 player character knights in a unit
for a triumph
that are able to roll and win in order to get a triumph. If there's just one, then the most you can do is a win.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It just, all that means is I win. So if we look at the chase down sprinters maneuver, it says, what does it say? Run down sprinters. For a win, we move forward 1 zone. So we're actually going to push into...
So when move forward 1 zone, you're in enemy rank 6.
Correct.
What do you record on your sheet? Because I want to make sure that we're capturing...
Yeah.
Like, we need to know what we're logging while we're playing, too. And also, we have 2 guests on that have not participated in any of this that are going to be really lost. So we need to be able to help them.
Yes. So on the sheet, on the player sheet, got to record a win on the unit results. This is for the first charge. Then casualties. I don't know what the casualties. Oh, that's the leader one. That's why. Intensity. Sorry, I gotta make my sheet too now. Hang on. 2 commander's orders. Charge. Enemy glory. How much glory for those sons of bitches? Those little lads, the fellas that we just stabbed. Javelineers. Javelineers give 8 glory for breaking them. Cool.
Does that count as a break?
Yeah, it just getting a win on them would be 8. If I lost against them, I would get half of 8, and that's per night. So they get 8 melee results. Win. Total glory would be 8. So I didn't get anything else for doubling or critting or anything like that. Unit results would be win. because the whole unit. So the melee results would be my specific victory or loss. I got a win on my melee. The unit as a whole got a win, and then we'll do the squire stuff, but we'll do that in a second. As for the leader sheet, leader's got the first charge. Casualties. I don't know what the leader marks for casualties. I think that's if he's got bodyguards. He marks his bodyguards as being lost or whatnot. But he does not have bodyguards, so that's unnecessary for this.
Yeah, we won't worry too much, though. I think there is a squire section there too, right?
Yes. Squires will come in just a moment.
Okay. We can do it we can do it in the proper order here.
Yeah, okay, I see. We're still on round 1. Yeah, first charge. That's I don't see the leader's battle record for this one, which is interesting. Okay, so, after that, lovely, bloody fighting, we move on to the end of round. We won the melee, so we get the full glory. We don't lower the army intensity because we didn't get a triumph. Players should now make their squire rolls with their brand new squires. Age 15. I got a 3 out of 15. That is a success. It says follow the instructions, but I think that's on the squire page. They have certain actions that they can do. I believe if they critical, they can capture an enemy horse. Otherwise, they can just kind of loosely do anything that a squire would do, like go and collect someone unconscious or bring you a new weapon. So my squire made his squire.
The player page there, so squire is unarmed and still okay.
Yeah. Yes, you were totally right. So for excess, I can have him give me a new weapon, get off my horse and give it to another knight who lost their horse, but that's not necessary. Give his horse to the knight, climb up behind him. That's unnecessary. Dismount, similar action deemed appropriate. I'm going to have him just kind of shout loud for no reason, just war cry.
Well, assuming you probably didn't break your lance, right?
I didn't, because it breaks on an odd number of damage. I got a 20, so if I had gotten that 15 at first, then my lance would have broken, and I could have used.
He could have given you another spear. So.
Correct. So not a whole lot he can do here. He can just sit tight. Finally, we would normally roll to see how the rest of the group fared against the same unit, but for now, we'll skip this to keep it simple. And I actually know how that tracks in the other one, because the second battle deals more with that. And it's not really valuable to us until we're going to be having vassals, which I don't think we're going to have for a very long time.
No.
Matic
we'll
might
probably find
a
fast way to track that for Zach. So thinking of tomorrow, we're going to have 2 guests on for Zach. That might be useful to know because they'll be fighting alongside his family, but they won't be his vassals. So we'll just do some winging stuff to see how
I think if they're just his vassals, if they're just his family and not his vassals, I don't think they apply to the same way. Because part of the extra risk of the followers specifically is that they're assumed to be bodyguards, and you can use them. You can activate them to literally throw themselves in front of damage for you.
I saw someone survive a battle that way. Makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally the only reason they survived the battle in one of the tutorials. Not tutorials, one of the streams. So.
I think there's an example just like that in the second one. It's like Lord Wolf takes a crit and he throws his bodyguards in front of it and gets to re-roll, but he also rolls a dice to see how many of his family just died. End of round.
I need some help filling out the tutorial, the GM battle record. So unit results is loss, right? For this.
Unit result is win. because even you as the game master, you're only keeping track of really our side. Everything is in comparison to them.
Okay. Modifier. And then final
Modifiers.
army.
Yeah, modifier is going to be 0 because we did not get a triumph or anything. It didn't adjust their record. Does that make sense? Like, their army intensity is still going to be the same.
Yeah, and then how do I determine final army intensity?
Final army intensity is going to be the same that it was as it started, because
First charge intensity?
No, it's going to be the army intensity. Which is
probably army intensity plus modifier, right?
It would be, yes. So it's going to be 17.
Yeah. And if I had a +2, it would have been a 19. And plus 2
Correct.
modifier. Okay.
Correct. If we had ended up losing really bad or winning really good, it would have affected that modifier a little bit and changed the army intensity. Okay, on to round 2.
That wasn't so bad for like a really slow round 1. So
no, especially because a lot of that was us having to double check stuff that we will not have to do next time. So,
okay, so that's the explanation. So it goes like from army down to unit, down to individual melee, back up to the calculating the summary of what happened in kind of playing
with the
squire and the followers.
Correct.
Back to the very beginning from there.
Correct. It pretty much, yeah, it shrinks and shrinks and shrinks, and then it goes back out to look at the big picture and how you affected the big picture. And affecting the big picture is actually pretty rare. Based on what I've seen with this, it's only really like there's a couple of things you can do to make it better or worse, but really it's only for it's only for messing with that stuff. Now, technically, the round after the first charge is round 2, but it doesn't matter that much.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
It literally does not matter.
It does in the sense that it doesn't matter really, but first charge is usually round 1. But in the case of like tomorrow's game, for example, we know it won't be. Round 1 will be like we'll be crossing out the first charge section and going round 1.
Okay. So, last round, the army intensity ended at 17, so you'll put 17 into the last round.
Done.
And now you're rolling battle events again! Yay! So that's 3d6 minus 10. You want me to do that?
Wait, why is it 3d6 minus 10?
It's so that it can be on a range from +7 to -7.
And where's the battle event? I don't even remember rolling battle events. We haven't rolled battle events yet.
No, we did. It just gave us a number specifically because it recommended to go with 2, but I rolled it and I came out with 0.
I'm gonna have to find battle events first.
I will show you that.
It should be on this list.
Yeah.
On this Roll20 page. It should be one of these tables. If not, we need to put it there. Every table we should be rolling tomorrow has to be on this page.
Yeah, it's in Calculate Intensity, page 27.
Give me the table name and number. And
Army Intensity is last round's final Army Intensity plus battle events, 3d6 minus 10. That's on page 27.
Okay, what is the actual table's name?
The table is table 4.1 battle events.
Got it. We didn't roll this though. I swear we didn't roll this.
I did. It was like one of the first things we did. It came up with a 10, but we ended up going with 2 because that's what the game recommended we go with for this fight. Just as like a demonstration. The idea is you roll the 3d6, subtract it by 10, and that'll get you anywhere between -7 and +7. And that's just a basic idea of, like, how well is this battle going for us?
I'm following its purpose. What I want to know is this something that GM just decides for round 1? Like,
no, you still roll it. You still roll it round 1.
Okay, where in the pages? Because I did not demonstrate that well for people, and I want to
in the tutorial.
Yeah.
That's on. Step round 1, first charge. Step 2, calculate intensity. It says opening intensity is always 20. Starting condition is -5 because Uther's army is better armed. Random battle events occur every round. This represents any surprises on the ground, little errors in timing, or even advantages of timing that count against perfection. Ask the players to roll 3d6 -10 on table 4.1 to determine this round's events. Players want to roll low for themselves, low to favor themselves. Enter the result value on the battle record as needed.
Okay, so I want to pause at this and get this part right, because I don't
Sure.
think it's always 3d6 -10. I think it's 3d6 minus a modifier, right?
Nope. It's always 3d6 -10. It's to get you the range of -7 to +7.
Okay. Let me just make sure my notes.
It seems quite arbitrary, but I understand why they have it that way. It's, it's kind of putting a cap on how well and how poorly you can do with the random battle stuff.
Yeah, and then
it also says I don't remember if it says it in this one or in a different one, but the GM can introduce scripted events as well, where you just basically decide what the number is. Like if you say have an event where at round 3 Uther comes in and rides in with a charge, you can say that that's a -5 to the battle events without having to roll. It doesn't have to be random.
for sure. I'm just looking here.
Yep, no worries.
So 3d6 -10, and then there were modifiers that I'm almost certain there were when we were reading through it.
I don't think so. There are modifiers to how we mess with, like, how we personally affect the battlefield, but the battle events itself doesn't carry any different modifiers. It's always that 3d6 -10. I'm almost certain of that.
Give me a second. I'm just gonna dig on that one. Yeah, it is pretty straightforward. It says roll 3d6. Since test rolls are so dry, sample descriptions are provided. Oh, and there are automatic events too to review.
Yes.
So army intensity is not 0.
Oh, yeah. The automatic events are absolutely there.
Army intensity is not 10 or less. Army intensity from 11 to 29 has no automatic event. So basically, if 11 to 29 were good, if we're 30 or -10, or 10 minus, there's trouble.
I believe it's signaling retreat stuff too. I think at 10 or less, if it's 10 or less for 2 rounds in a row, then the enemy is forced to retreat, start fleeing from the battlefield. And if it's 30 or more for 2 rounds in a row, then your side is forced to retreat. And I think once it hits 10 or 30, that they start flagging for retreat. It's just you have an opportunity to recover too,
Yeah. All right, give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
No worries.
Alright, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Okay, so I guess we just roll. You can roll battle events. It's a player roll. It looks like, right?
Yep. Where am I? Where am I on the book now? There we go. All right. So battle events. I got a 6, not good. A 5, not good, and a 3. So.
Did you roll off roll 20 kind of thing?
Yeah, I did. Okay. So that's going to be 11, 14. 14 minus 10 is a 4. So battle events for this round are going to be a 4, which is plus.
Right. So 4 is enemy surges forward. Brave defender. Is this a unit level thing, or is this a?
It will affect the unit. It's this specific roll is for the whole of the army. It's for how the battle is going, but it is going to affect how the battle goes for us specifically. The higher the unit intensity is, the higher the army intensity is, the higher the unit intensity is going to be, and the higher the unit intensity it's going to be, the less options we're going to have in terms of pulling off cool strategies and things like that. So
okay,
it's
I might actually work with scripted more.
Yeah.
Because here's my thought. Like, there's some value in rolling, right? But the Great Pendragon campaign and the Book of Uther both have very meaningful scripted army event, like army macro, to show you what's going on. That would be more meaningful than enemy surges for it. So, for example, in Meacred round 2, I'm just gonna call this out just so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. They usually define how many rounds a battle is, like, outright before you play.
Right.
Let me just see. Usually lists what's supposed to go on. Almost positive it has that format. Okay, not every fight has a scripted outcome. That's worth noting. Some of them do, and I think I might play with that. When they don't have anything meaningful listed, it makes sense to roll. But there'll be times where like the macro actually has something to do with like Uther or like Arthur.
It says a bunch of times that it's like they've developed rules here for this, but also the GM should do what makes it work best for them. And I think you're totally right. I think scripted stuff like that is as the priority, and then battle events as an option.
I hate on the rails type stuff though. So it's about being like saying, hey, you know what? Like, you're powerless to affect what Uther's gonna do. So this is what it is. But now you get a chance to react and respond to that. And I think that still gives that player agency that wouldn't be there if you didn't have that, if that makes sense. So and I'm just talking that out loud. So for this one, you rolled enemy surges forward, brave defenders, enemy reinforcements are coming. They're trying to flank us.
It's basically, I think those specific phrases are all, like, each one of them is something that you can use. You don't have to specifically say that. It's just a vibe of like, oh, here is what might be happening to affect this certain thing. It can be any one of those. It can be all of them. It can be whatever, right? So, the idea is that they've got
with battle event is they're trying to flank us, or enemy surges forward.
Yeah, it's like they have gotten 4 points stronger, whatever that means. You know?
Do I add that? Is that this round then? So it's 17 plus 4?
Yes. So in the battle events, you'll write a 4, and then the army intensity will be 21.
Oh, battle events, I just write 4. I don't write what it is, or do I write 4?
You can if you want to, but the important thing is the number.
Okay. Okay, perfect.
17 plus 4 will put the army intensity at 21. Now, we're not dealing with terrain modifiers right now. It's soon to be fought on a big open area. So the next thing is Battle Zone. Now, we're in Battle Zone 6 right now, which has a plus 10 to unit intensity. So the Battle Zone is going to be a number 10.
Yep.
we are no longer disengaged like we were with the first charge.
But
so we lose the -20, and instead it drops to 0 for just normal cohesion.
It doesn't. There was a cohesion modifier to running down the enemy, I think.
To them, yeah, it applies to them, I think.
No, it's set to charging down like the knights themselves. Let me see. It wasn't. It's not a big deal. I just want to get it right. It's.
Oh yeah, no.
It's like that thing. Like once you charge, you're actually not in a very good spot, right? Like
yeah. On a win, move forward 1 zone, and that's it. If we got a triumph, we would have moved forward 2 zones and applied disorder to them, and we would have checked reckless.
No, it is. That's right. It was triumph. You just won. But if you did triumph, it's no intensity change. Everyone expects the sprinters to lose. Move forward 2 zones, but your unit is disordered after the rapid rush forward. So it's like you push so far forward that you end up just.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
that's interesting that doing too well can actually be bad for you too.
Well,
I like that actually.
It's glory though. It means glory, right?
Yeah.
Like you're bound to get more glory in a disordered thing, but yeah, like pushing forward, you're the sacrificial lamb of the battle, right?
Yeah, I quite like that actually. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And that might be part of the reason why you might not want to necessarily go after, like, that part of the strategy of going after, say, ranged units. It's like, yeah, exactly, passion. Like going after ranged units is like, oh shit, it might be an easy fight for us to fight these javelineers, but do we want to risk getting pushed off into the middle of the enemy territory like that and getting disordered? Like that's going to be bad for us.
100%.
So no change to our unit cohesion here. So the total unit intensity for this round is going to be 31.
Okay, I'm going to have to figure this out. So, why 31?
So it's the army intensity plus the battle zone. The army intensity is 21 right now. Then you add the battle zone unit intensity of plus 10 for being in zone 6 so far into their lines. And then unit cohesion is 0, so that doesn't apply to it one way or the other. And then that makes it 31.
Yeah. I blinked on following how to fill this out. Okay, so 21
it's
plus 10.
All good.
Yeah. Okay.
So now we get to the part that's fucky. And by fucky I mean bad for us. So now in round 2, we're going to choose a maneuver. But first, Elad has to roll his battle skill versus the unit intensity of 31.
And we didn't have to do that for the first charge for some reason?
Correct. No, we did do it. It was just Uther's roll instead. From here on out, it's going to be Elad's roll. So Elad is going to roll. What's his battle? I think I have it written down.
Elad's battle roll is it's
19.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, I will roll.
Yeah, man.
Actually, you can roll. I don't care.
I can roll. I'll roll. He got a 3 out of 19, which could have been a lot better, but it does succeed.
Okay.
So here's the unfortunate thing. So now you're going to roll the unit intensity. So they're rolling with a skill of 31 right now. So
all right.
They're getting a plus 11 to whatever they roll.
Oh god. Yeah. Okay, let's do this on stream. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Oh god.
29. So that means they crit, yes? Yeah, okay. So
but don't you have to choose maneuver first, or is this all in the unit phase still?
You roll the battle first because what they get on the battle roll will determine what they can choose on the thing, right?
Yeah.
So For example, Ilad got a partial success. He succeeded, but not as good as the enemy.
Right.
There's a chart on page 33, which is one of the ones that I sent you, that shows what he has access to even choose right now. He's limited a little bit because...
Partial success, right?
Right, partial success, and the unit intensity got a critical success, which means that they're going to attack with 2 units instead of 1. What that means is that right now, Ilad can only...
Is this stand fast, stand versus charge, stand versus 2, and runaway? Is that
correct? Yeah. Pretty much.
Okay.
Runaway pullback, I think, is also allowed, but he's pulling back against 2 units. So Ilad gets to choose right now whether or not he wants to hold his position here in the middle of the blood zone, or if he wants to try to fight and retreat at the same time. If he pulls back, then he will be able to. Let's see, what is it? Pullback is. Where is it? Pullback. There we go. So if he pulls back, all of our guys are going to be fighting with a -5 penalty. But if we win, we will move back 1 zone and we will disengage again, which means we'll get that -20, which is very good for us.
All right.
Now, you might have us choose what Matic does in the battle. I know you were talking about us maybe being Matic's advisors in terms of choosing his battles.
You're very much your own unit. Matic is his own unit, which is something that will play out, right? It's like you aren't attached to Matic's unit directly. It was a kind of a decision made due to... So you're part of the first charge, which is hundreds of
right
at the front. And then ambush comes, and you are effectively there'll be some storyline around that. The advantage is that Thomas did roll a critical battle at the very last, so I'm gonna have some kind of outcome that allow you won't. Your first round's gonna be really bad, but the critical is gonna help your unit, so it's gonna be.
That's gonna be great.
Yeah, you.
I wonder which one of us is.
Right.
I wonder which one of us is going to end up taking command, because I think all of us have pretty high battle skills in general.
The option for round 1 will be take Thomas's critical, or anyone else rolls brand new, right? So
we'll want Thomas's critical. We'll put Cortrix in charge.
It's more, and it has to do with him spotting the advance in time and rallying you guys together. That would be.
That's super cool.
That real himbo power, he's just on it, high energy.
Right.
Paul Revere moment for him, right?
So for this case, then we'll say Ilad's probably gonna look at the situation and be like, "We're deep enough," and he's probably gonna go for a pullback rather than a stand versus 2.
Now, I do have to ask, why do you think he gets pullback as an option? I interpret this as. You lost the partial success,
right?
And so therefore, pull back they're around you too much, and you're stuck either completely. Pull back is a organized disengage, and runaway is a abandon all hope and flee, and then the other 2 are you're standing your ground because the option to safely disengage doesn't seem possible. Is that?
So the pullback isn't the safely disengage. There's, unfortunately, they've put in 3 different types of retreats in this. Pullback is the second to worst one. I think they have in round 2 in the tutorial here, they have Sir Ilad roll a 19 against the unit intensity 20. He rolled a success, but unit intensity gets a critical. Which is basically the exact same situation we're in right now.
Yeah.
Ilad has a partial success, they've got a critical. A check on the maneuver choices table reveals that Ilad gets a partial success. Unfortunately, because of the unit intensity crit, the player knights will be attacked by 2 enemy units this round. Encourage the players to discuss their options. Pull back is the best choice, and Elad orders it if the player look like they're going to go a different way or are unsure of how to proceed.
I hate that though, because it doesn't list it as an option in the loss table. You know what I mean?
Yes. It's weird because like attack versus 2 is still an option on the partial success table, but that's not an option to us during this.
Yeah, it's like someone messed up that table. That's what
there's a lot of those. There's a lot of those. Yeah, and it's like it would be weird too because like this whole maneuver choice table is kind of silly to me because it would have been so easy to just put that on the maneuver table and just have an extra box that says success needed, like, you know, partial success.
Six quality of success, win, partial loss or tie. Yeah,
exactly. Especially because a lot of these
or minimum success required or something like that, right?
Exactly. So that one we're just going to kind of have to wing a little bit, but I think we can do it.
So in the event that this loss happens, we'll just let people know that we've reviewed the book, and the book suggests that pullback is possible in the loss, and they probably missed it on the table. That's all.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense too because you are still going to choose 2 different enemies to fight us. It's just a matter of like that is something that we have access to. It is possible that it is a typo and we don't have access to it because, spoiler, there are multiple references to things in these tutorials that should not be possible and are not explained in any way, shape, or form. So who knows? But I'm pretty sure that pullback is an option. It's just we're gonna have to be fighting 2 guys while we're pulling back. So what you do next now is you're gonna roll. Are we on round 3 now? No, we're on round 2. So you're gonna roll 3 random enemies on the unit and the enemy chart. This is just gonna be a straight D20 roll. You're gonna roll 3 of them.
Oh boy. Okay. Wednesday. Why is it 3? I saw 2 before. Where are you getting that 3rd from?
Because on the maneuver table, the maneuver summary table for pullback, it says opponent 3 random foes. Game master chooses 1, but you're going to choose 2 because they critted on us.
Right. So I choose 2, and then the 3rd is rolled. Is that what?
You roll 3 randomly, and you choose 2 of the 3 that you rolled randomly to put us again.
Gotcha.
And the reason why that is that some options allow us to choose from the random rolls, depending on like how, you know, certain things that we do. Like if we're attacking something, you would roll 3 random enemies, and we would choose one of them to attack. So that's why it has you roll them first rather than just choose whatever you want.
Got it. Okay. What page was that on again?
The summary table. I'm pretty sure you have the summary table on your Roll20. It is 124.
I thought we were rolling the Saxons.
Oh, right, the Saxons. That's right. Beginning Saxon Armory is on page 95.
I will pull that up as like on this chart as well.
Yeah,
it won't be beginning Saxon Army for you guys.
I think it'll be useful, especially because too, whether it's attacking or beginning Saxon Army, I think it'll be useful too because it lists the glory and stuff on there, which we need anyway. So like, there's nothing on here that needs to be secret.
For sure. Oh, okay. So, I roll 3, right?
Correct.
9, 15, and 6.
So 9's veteran warriors. A 16 is javelineers again. No, 15 you said?
15.
9, 15, and then what was the last one?
6.
Okay, so 6 is spearmen in red armor. Pretty cool. That's not too bad. They've got a great spear of 10, which is not super dangerous. Veteran warriors, they have 2-handed weapons of 18 and great spear of 22, which is not great. And then lastly is veteran elite Hearthgorants. They have heavy javelins and two-handed weapons or great spears, all of which, and chainmail. They use javelins or melee. Use 1d3 to determine weapons. So
I'm gonna make this painful for John and choose veteran warriors and veteran elite heroes.
John's going down. All right.
Well,
So now you to decide whether or not the veteran elite Hrothgars have javelins or have which weapon they have. You're gonna roll a d20 until you get a 1 or 2 or 3, or you can just roll a d3. You're on roll 20. Roll a d3.
is that what it says? That's awful.
Yeah. There are certain points, like if you need to roll a d8, or no, it's like roll a d. What was it? I think it was a d3. Yeah, it was like roll a d3. Just keep re-rolling a d20 until you get to a 1 or a 2 or a 3. It was like, what?
Where did it say that? That's crazy.
I don't remember. It's not
use javelins or melee or use 1d3. Oh, it says 1d3 to determine weapon.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So 3 is determined weapon. So 3 was a what again?
A heavy javelin is 1, two-handed weapon is 2, and a great spear is 3.
Oh, great spear.
All right, they have great spears. That means my horses are useless against them. Awesome, love that.
All right, so great. And you know what the worst part is? They're both engaging you, right? So you actually have to split your actions if you want to try to attack both.
Correct.
Or to apply your shield to both.
Yeah, if I want to defend against both of them, I have to split my actions.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm fighting the veteran warriors and the Hrothgars.
And the reason I did that, just to know, is like, again, we're playing the tutorial, so I don't care about John. That's the first.
Yeah,
point.
John. I also don't care about John. He can die.
The other point is if I chose what one didn't I choose? The Javelineers? Is that what they were?
Yes. The other one was javelin.
If I chose a Javelineers.
Oh no, it was spearmen in red armor.
Oh, okay. Let's say it was Javelineers. If I chose them as a range, and you chose not to attack them, there's only a chance that they attack you.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So there's some advantage to not running down the archers. Like the advantage is if you ignore the archer, they might not even bother you that round.
Exactly correct. So you've chosen those. Yeah, you've chosen those two to fight me. I believe the Javelineers, just by virtue of existing, they're not engaged with me, but they're one of the ones that you've rolled. They still get to roll to see if they shoot me. So let me double check what they actually roll for that.
I don't think I rolled Javelineers, though, right?
Oh, that's right, because you didn't actually get Javelineers. That's right.
That was pretend it's Javelineers just to show the roll, like show what happened.
Yeah, why not? Fuck John. Who cares about him? Yes. So, I am in rank 6 is where John is. So we're going to be rolling to see if they shoot into that range. Let's see, where is the ranged combat? Melee combat, almost melee skill.
So when a unit isn't engaged, which is what's happening with the Javelineers this time.
Correct. Missile phase. Yes, they are. They're gonna roll 1d6.
Okay.
And if they get a 1 through 4, then they will get a shot off at my guys, at our guys.
They didn't. There you go.
Hooray!
Yeah.
Thank God.
That's actually a fairly high number too, 1 through 4.
Yeah.
Good percentage. Good percentage. Okay, so now you gotta choose whether you're splitting against these two or not.
Correct. Which I think. So looking at their stats, they're quite frightening to me. It looks like actually though the veteran warriors are capable of doing more damage. Did we figure out what weapons the elite guys, the veteran elite Hrothgars have?
Yeah, great spear.
They have a great spear. That's right.
And then the veteran warriors have what? A two-handed weapon
They have
or a great spear?
they have a two-handed weapon or a great spear. Which I guess
let's
flip a
ruin
coin for
John's life, and we're gonna put them both as great spears.
Great, love that. So they're going to be my priority, I think, because they are both they roll 66 damage, and the other guys do not. They roll 5d6.
The red are the special ones.
Correct.
I'm showing you here.
Oh yeah, I get you.
On the killing
Yeah.
zone.
So let's see. What's John got here? What's John Gotti? He's got a 15 sword. I could have sworn that Dallin was better than 15 sword. Oh no, I'm on Lance. I'm rolling Lance anyway, but it's still 15. Great, love that. Okay, so
And I don't think you can apply a lance without a charge. Like you're done charging, so now.
That's right. It would be spear if I'm not charging, which is a 6.
So sword out.
I guess I gotta. Yeah, I've gotta do sword out for this one. I guess I'm gonna have to split that. How do I split it? Mechanically. Oop, that's not correct. Ignore that.
Yeah, I get you. Unfortunately.
Yeah. I think here's what I'll do. I'll give 10 to the veteran warriors, and I will give 5 to the elite guys. And I'm just gonna roll twice with the with that same. Oh, I guess I could modify it by minus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would just minus modify it. Okay. -5. Hey, that's a success. And then, do you want to roll their attack first, or do you want me to roll my other?
That was a veteran, right?
That was the veteran warriors, yes.
Hero, whatever they're called.
They're using the great spear. I think their great spear stat is 22, so.
Yeah, 1d20 or 1d20 plus 2 versus 22.
Yep. Okay, so they got a better success than me. So partial success on my part,
which is not bad. That's good.
Could have been worse.
Yeah.
And do I choose which one I apply my shield to?
No. If you succeed, you automatically apply your shield as a partial success to both of these, right?
Oh, awesome.
That's the advantage to splitting, is on top of potentially actually critting or winning.
You might survive.
You might significantly lower your damage. Do you want me to roll damage first?
Yes, please.
Okay. This is 66, so that's really bad. 23, but minus what? 15, 16? 16?
Because it's my chainmail, right?
Mm-hmm. Chainmail plus shield.
Chainmail plus shield. Chainmail is 10. So
yes.
What's the
16? So
16
minus 16.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, 7 damage. Yep.
7? That's
yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. Well, it would have been 13 with if you didn't apply your shield, right?
Yeah.
So.
All right. So Sir John's got 24 hit points total. He's quite fucked up. He does not get a major wound, however, which is good.
Yep. Yeah. Now the next guy.
Now for the next guy.
Which are also veteran warriors with great spears of 22. So let's see.
Yeah. Yes, they are. They roll less damage though, so pretty happy about that. All right, that's a failure.
Oh, a success. So no shield this time.
No shield.
So
just my armor.
Veteran warriors. It says they do 66 as well.
Does? No, they're not veteran warriors. They're the elite. They're the elite Hearthgoes. They have a great spear of 20, not 22, and they have 5d6.
Oh no, they have a great spear of 15. Actually.
What?
Or wait, no. I was looking at the wealthy warriors. Never mind.
Oh yeah.
Great spear of 20. Okay, my bad.
Also, that little pound symbol that's next to them, they are worthy of ransom. So if we got a major wound on any of them, or if we decided to do extended combat on these guys to try to knock some of them out, we could ransom them for money. But I doubt we'll do that.
Extended combat is one of those things where, like, you can choose it as players, right? To play it out?
Yeah, you can choose it, or we can choose it. Most of the time we won't, though, because it doesn't really matter unless the people have good ransoms, or if it's like, a commander or something, which will come from opportunities and stuff like that.
So they do, what, 6d6 as well, or 5d6?
5d6.
That's good. Oh, that's bad.
22. That'll do 12 to me. That will do a major wound. I am still alive, though.
There you go. And
so,
using
John,
Ellen's stats, you can get used to whether or not you want to participate in this sort of thing.
5 for John. Yeah, John ain't looking too hot. He's down to 5 hit points. So he's doing all right. He's doing fine.
Everything's fine.
Yeah. So I did, however, succeed half of my rolls there, so that does count as a win in terms of the battle. So I'm gonna get some glory for this stuff. Now, the veteran warriors have a glory rating of 15, and I won against them. A partial success, which does partial success count as a win?
I was just looking at this. I'm like, Saxon armies for beginners. One thing it says in it is game masters are urged to use it as long as necessary, or until the players recognize it. Urged to use it. That's.
Yeah, they're.
I would have went with the other Saxon table, so I'm glad I chose this one, because I think even against Mark and the high sword characters.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are nasty.
Most of them have over 20 for their stats, which is like.
I think it's good enough for these guys. Yeah, I think.
Now, part of I think the interpretation too is that there are multiples of them. Like there's you're not just fighting one or two dudes. You're fighting it's representative of the entire army strength.
Yeah,
because I think. As if you there's certain things that you can do that will if you fight the same unit twice, they might be weaker the second time, and you use half their stats and things. So I doubt that'll come up for us, but if it does, I'll keep my eye on it. But it's one of them things where it's ooh, oh shit.
Unit recoils one zone is the outcome of a loss, right?
Yes. I'm double checking to see if that was a loss, because I got a partial success on the first one, which I believe counts. Unit results. Unit results. Is a unit? Sprinters.
Final army.
Unit results. Nope, this is a specific maneuver again. I don't want a specific maneuver.
Oh, there is a table 419. Do we not have that in?
There it is. No, there it is. I found it.
Do we not? We should have that captured somewhere. If we don't.
Yeah.
Oh, there. Unit cohesion though. It's not unit results.
Unit victory. Three players make.
Okay, while you're doing that, I'm going to take a picture. We should have unit results on this map with us.
Yeah. No, I think one individual. There's no chance of triumph. If fewer than than 3 players are in it, should create a couple of NPCs for this purpose.
If fewer than what? What did it say for that?
If fewer than 3 knights are in a game, the game master should create a couple of NPCs just for this purpose. Doesn't matter for this tutorial, just because.
It will matter for tomorrow, for not because they're not in the battle, but because they're separate. I want to give people who are
there is also a sample battle buddy stat thing. It's
Battle
that'll be
RPG.
useful for you. It lists basically all of their stats is battle is 10, lance 15, sword 15, horsemanship 15. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the people that will be in Zach's group though are House de Newton. I think they're worthy of knowing
Being a little tougher.
more about. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, but for Megan, it might. Well, it doesn't matter because we're not having Megan roll for the first bit, or at least not.
Oh shit, that's right. I forgot about the defensive tactic. I can optionally a player can use something called defensive tactics, which is in the actual 5th edition rulebook.
Right.
I get a +10 to surviving. I get a +10 to my rolls, but I can't do damage against them. But it also doesn't count as a win. It's an automatic loss in terms of the actual unit results, you know. Knight fights 2, beats 1, loses another, then you can't triumph. Doesn't say if a partial success counts as a win. I would assume that a partial success would not count as a win because I lost against that knight. I just got a partial success.
That's how I would read it too. It's like they count as they get a 1, you get a 0, right? And then if Goretrix rolled and got a success, then it'd be back to a tie, like 1-1, right? And
right.
What happens on a stalemate for unit results?
If a tie, it says a tie counts as a win for in purposes of unit results.
Win or tie, yeah, okay.
That question. So, I lost that. Now, if I had other knights, they would probably be rolling as well, so it might not be a crush, which would be very bad for us.
But we're
in this
kind of a loss, not a crush.
Yeah, it would just count as a loss because there's just one of me.
So go back to the killing zone.
Pull back. Yeah, pull back, recoil 1 zone. Yeah. So we're for sure going back. We're not disengaged, though.
Yeah.
Which is the important thing. Oh, shit, I didn't count my -5 penalty, too. I was supposed to have a -5 to both of those rolls.
Oh, were you? For which one? For what reason again?
Pull back because Elad got...
Combat modifier for the actual...
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Well, very dangerous, this whole warfare thing.
Even with your minus... You know what's hilarious, though?
Uh-huh.
If you did apply your -5, you would have critted on the first sword attack.
I would have, huh?
And you would have therefore won.
I would have won that fight. Huh.
Yeah. Why don't we count that then? Why don't we count that?
I mean, yeah, it doesn't matter to me.
I think it's interesting, and it stops you from taking some of the damage. So you get 7 health back, and you get to do massive damage to him. So why don't we do that? So add 7 health back, and then give me a crit damage roll.
And then is that doubled? Is that what that is?
Yep.
Alright. Let's do... I'm just going to roll 5d6 twice. 18 and 17.
Alright. That's pretty big.
Or I guess it's supposed to be just 17 times 2, huh?
Yeah, it's okay. 34 then. And then, I mean, it's just tutorial, but let me go back to the page 101.
I believe that would actually... That would make it to a 1 loss and a 1 win for my unit, which would actually make it into a unit win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. All right, so for a win for a pullback...
You engage next round, disengage, or you start... Sorry, before we go to next round, I think we need to fill out some more. So actions... Yep. Action was pullback, right? Correct. And then enemy unit... Oh, jeez. Veteran, elite, here begins... and I need to figure out how to pronounce that before tomorrow. and veteran warriors, right? And then unit results. Win, modifier. Do you have a modifier?
For the unit results, no. Well, no, I do not. Because I didn't triumph and I didn't crush.
Final army intensity would then be what we left off with.
Yes, so the army intensity would remain at 21.
Okay. Right, because it's army, not unit. Okay, never mind.
Correct. But yeah. Should be funky. Be pretty funky monkey.
Round
yeah.
3?
Yeah, do you wanna call it here? And like, I think that's pretty much the gist. Like, it just repeats that a bunch of times.
No. It's army intensity that's like, what is determining whether or not the fight or the battle comes to an end? I'm trying to understand that.
Okay, so it doesn't specify in here in general, but I think that might be a Pendragon thing. Like you said, I think a lot of battles have a set endpoint, right?
Yeah, but some of them call for a retreat, or is that just your unit that's retreating, right? Like, isn't there's a core mechanic around intensity where if the intensity gets too high or too low, it
is supposed to be the whole army retreating. But what I've seen in this is stuff has to either be going really well or really poorly to be able to get there in the amount of time that most battles would last, right?
Okay.
Like,
so I can actually call for your unit could your unit could change the battlefield. Ultimately, the battlefield will still play out its the way it was supposed to, unless your unit does insanely well or insanely poorly.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. For example, I think towards the end of this tutorial battle, in the 5th round, the Saxons have a 38 unit intensity. It's wild. Their army intensity is 28. They've almost pushed the Britons into having to start making retreats. Mm-hmm. But there's a scripted event that comes in where Uther just rides in a charge and applies a -7 to the army intensity just for the hellsies of it. Mm-hmm. And then the battle ends right after that, and it says that Uther won. Even then, that's that would drop it down to 21, which would still technically
at round 5.
Yeah. So, the thing about this system that's really interesting to me is it's really mechanically complex, but it seems to be there partially just to help the storytelling. So, battles end when they're meant to end.
Unless the army intensity goes
right.
Really
unless people start, retreating too early because they're just getting their asses kicked so bad. Which, it says specifically, it's there's 2 types of victories or losses. There's a decisive victory and a decisive loss, and there's an indecisive and indecisive loss. And both of those, a decisive victory and a decisive loss are extremely rare. That's if you push the enemy's counter to 0 by the end of the battle, which is that's insane. If you push the army intensity all the way to -20, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you push the enemy's shit all the way to -20, it's insane. That's a lot of work to do in a limited amount of rounds.
Yeah, it's almost impossible, really.
Right, especially because we have such limited control over the battlefield. Right. That's mostly RNG plus your own scripted events and stuff. So, yeah. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good flow of this. I think we'll have an easier time tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree.
Just because this was pretty helpful in terms of getting an idea of flow and stuff, and a lot of the challenge of this specifically was only having one person. I think having the other people is actually going to make it a little bit easier. So
yeah, Thomas is pretty good with rules too, so he'll be like right in there, I think, trying. And that's a third person to help us look stuff up rapid fire. So,
and I have a feeling that it might even just be easier on the day of to, like, if we don't totally know a rule, we just fudge it for this time. And then,
that's my plan.
Yeah,
I think especially now that we got this tutorial video out, it's like if people want to learn it, you can defer to the tutorial. But what they'll be seeing tomorrow is how I run games, which is if I don't know the rule, I make it up.
Yeah,
right.
Which
I prefer to. Actually, I get stuck sometimes where I call for a lookup and it completely kills the momentum of the game because I get stuck on it. And I don't like.
I've done that before in my personal games.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate doing that. And that's one of the things about this system is, like, it's a really cool system. The one thing I would say to people who are interested in getting into the Book of Battle is that I don't love the way the book is written. It's got a lot of really, really cool ideas, but the way that they word it is immensely confusing. And unfortunately, there's just not that many resources out there right now that you can watch and be like, oh, well, this is how it's meant to be played. I see. So if you're seeing this by any chance without seeing our Pendragon stream, maybe come watch our Pendragon stream tomorrow. It'll be up on YouTube as well, because we'll have a good, we'll have a version of a battle depicted there, and maybe we can even do, Bob, my dog's barking. Maybe you and I, Bob, could do a commentary later on that video too, and be like, here's what we missed, here's what we did right, here's, once we have a little bit stronger understanding of how it works in play. So
exactly. And yeah, they're like, Pendragon is not a super popular game, but it has a diehard community. So I do plan to throw this video at people, get their feedback and stuff. I don't care if you're one of those people and you watch it through, I don't care what our camera quality, please don't comment on useless stuff. Not that it's useless, but I just don't, that's not why I'm sharing it with you.
Stuff we have to spend a lot of money on is probably not gonna fix anytime soon.
What I care to know about more so is, for this tutorial, and the battle rules themselves, did we miss anything important? Is there anything critical to it that we want to get right? So,
alrighty. Well, thank you for this. I don't know if you're going to keep working on it or not, but I think
I'm calling it quits because I'm burned. But thanks very much, Liam, for joining, and thanks to anyone who watched. Take care.
Yeah. Alrighty. Bye bye.